There are moments in life when one sentence, delivered at the right time, can shift the entire trajectory of a person's thoughts. Not because the words are magical, but because the heart behind them is real, lived, and tested. Imagine someone who has walked through storms so fierce that most people would have collapsed, someone who has rebuilt herself again and again with dignity and a quiet smile. Someone who has stood beside her children while they dared to dream things too big, too wild, too unrealistic in the eyes of the world. Now imagine that person looking at you and offering a simple message, one not wrapped in complication, philosophy, or pretense, just grounded, human truth. A message that says, you are allowed to believe in your future more than your fear. That is the kind of message people remember from Elon Musk's mother, and it carries the kind of energy you might need today, because maybe today you woke up feeling a little less powerful than you actually are. Maybe you've been carrying disappointment like an extra weight on your shoulders, a weight you've gotten used to but never actually wanted to keep. Maybe things haven't unfolded the way you planned, opportunities slipped, people changed, outcomes bent away from you even when you gave your absolute best. Or maybe it's been quiet, too quiet, nothing exactly wrong, but nothing spectacularly right either. The kind of quiet that feels like life is waiting for you to make a move you keep postponing, and here's where her message becomes a mirror. She's someone who faced uncertainty not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Not in the glamorous, camera-ready sense, but in the raw, real, everyday human way. She had to start over at an age when society silently tells people to settle down. She had to raise children while standing on unstable ground. She had to move across cities, countries, continents simply to keep life going. She had to build a career from scratch more than once. And through all of it, she learned the truth that many people take a lifetime to discover: your circumstances do not define you unless you surrender to them. So imagine her voice, steady but warm, saying something like this: don't wait for permission to become the person you know you can be. People will doubt you. People will misunderstand you. People will underestimate you. Let them. It's not your job to prove anything. Your job is to keep going. It hits with an unusual weight because it comes from someone who lived it. She didn't rise because she had perfect opportunities. She rose because she refused to sit in the dark waiting for life to hand her a flashlight. She went out and found one. Then another. Then she taught her children to do the same, and perhaps that's the part you need most today, the reminder that even if no one around you sees your potential, you are still allowed to rise. Sometimes the strongest people in the world are not the loudest, the richest, or the most celebrated. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who keeps walking forward, quietly, even when every step feels heavier than the last. The person who thinks, I can't do this, yet still wakes up the next day and tries. The person who has every reason to quit but chooses, just chooses, to show up again. That is strength. That is resilience. That is worth more than the surface-level confidence you see on social media. She would remind you that the world will always have opinions. Always. If you dare to dream, people will judge you. If you dare to try, people will question you. If you dare to succeed, people will resent you. And if you dare to fail, people will laugh. There is no path you can take that is completely free of criticism. So instead of bending under other people's noise, choose the path that matters to you. At least that way, the noise becomes background sound rather than a barrier. The truth is that you don't need applause to start, you need courage. And courage is not lightning. It doesn't strike in a flash of dramatic energy. Courage is a decision. A decision to take one small step, then another, but maybe you're tired. Maybe this message finds you at a point where you're worn down, not broken, just worn down in a quiet, almost invisible way. You've been strong for a long time. You've carried your responsibilities dutifully. You've tried to be positive. You've tried to be hopeful. Yet deep down, you wish someone would look you in the eyes and simply acknowledge how hard it has been. How much effort you've put into staying afloat. How many things you've been juggling behind the scenes. How many moments you've silently pushed through. If that's you, let this serve as that moment of acknowledgement. Let this message reach the part of you that rarely gets appreciated. You've been doing the best you can with what you have. And that is enough. More than enough. May's story reminds us that strength is not the absence of struggle. It is the decision to thrive despite the struggle. She didn't wait for life to be perfect before she started building a future. She built while things were messy. She built while she was afraid. She built while she was unsure. She built while people whispered doubts. She built while opportunities were scarce. And maybe that's exactly what you need to hear today. You are allowed to build even when you feel unprepared. You don't have to be confident to begin, you simply need to be willing. Willing to take the next step. Willing to trust that your effort matters. Willing to see yourself as capable even on the days when you don't feel it. Willing to keep going long after the excitement fades and only discipline remains. Because dreams don't belong to the fearless, they belong to the persistent, and persistence is something you already have. Think of all the challenges you've endured, things you didn't think you could survive. But you did. Even if you struggled, even if you cried in private, even if you stumbled, you survived. And survival itself is a form of success. Give yourself credit for that. You earned it. She would tell you that life has seasons. Some seasons tear you apart. Some seasons build you up. Some seasons test your patience. Some seasons test your character. But each season is temporary, and each one teaches you something valuable. If you're willing to listen, maybe this season of your life feels slow. Maybe it feels stagnant. Maybe nothing seems to be happening. But she would remind you, This is not a dead end, it's a preparation period. You are not stuck, you are growing roots. And roots take time. They take stillness. They take patience. They grow underground long before anything appears above the surface, so the fact that you haven't seen progress does not mean you aren't making progress. You are becoming the version of yourself that your future requires. And becoming is the hardest part. Becoming means shedding versions of yourself that once felt comfortable. Becoming means letting go of old habits, old fears, old insecurities. Becoming means walking into rooms where you feel out of place until you realize you belong there. Becoming means trusting yourself even when you have every reason to doubt. You might not recognize it yet, but the strength you're building right now is enormous. One of her most powerful messages is that age, background, failure, or the opinions of others do not determine your future. Your choices do. She built a life for herself in her 40s, 50s, 60s. She broke stereotypes simply by refusing to shrink. That matters because it proves something people often forget: it is never too late to reinvent your life. Never too late to begin again. Never too late to choose a new path. Never too late to decide that you want more. The world benefits when people choose to rise, no matter their age. If you've been doubting yourself lately, it's time to shift that. You don't need to feel confident to take action. Action is what creates confidence. If you've been feeling behind, remember this: there is no universal timeline for success. Everyone's journey is different. Some sprint in their 20s. Some bloom in their 30s. Some build in their 40s. Some rise in their 50s, 60s, 70s. There is no too late. There's only I started. If you've been waiting for the right moment, here is the truth you may not want to hear: there is no right moment. Moments become right when you choose to step into them, and if you've been underestimating yourself, stop. You have no idea how many people would be inspired if they saw your life from the inside. You have no idea how much strength you display even in your quietest days. You have no idea how many battles you've already won. You have no idea how powerful you truly are. Maybe this is why her words resonate with so many. They come from someone who succeeded not because the world opened doors for her, but because she pushed them open herself. She didn't rely on luck. She relied on resilience. She didn't wait for approval. She trusted her instincts. She didn't bury her dreams. She nurtured them, even when life was hard, and that is your reminder today: don't bury your dreams just because your circumstances feel heavy. Dreams buried out of fear eventually decay into regrets. But dreams nurtured with small steps eventually turn into realities. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need a perfect mindset. You don't need a perfect past. You just need the willingness to try again. Let this message straighten your back a little. Let it lift your chin. Let it soften your heart toward yourself. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to compare your journey to anyone else's. You just have to keep moving forward. You deserve a life that excites you. You deserve goals that light you up. You deserve peace that feels like home. You deserve opportunities that reflect your potential. You deserve relationships that recognize your worth, and you deserve to believe in yourself the way she believed in her children, even before the world recognized their brilliance. So today, choose belief. Even if it's small. Even if it's shaky. Even if it's quiet, choose belief in your ability to rise. Choose belief in your capacity to grow. Choose belief in a future that looks different from your past. Choose belief that you are capable of more than you think, because you are allowed to begin again. You are allowed to dream again. You are allowed to hope again. You are allowed to rebuild. You are allowed to reinvent. You are allowed to become a new version of yourself, and if you ever feel lost, remember this message: you are stronger than your circumstances. You are bigger than your fears. And you are worthy of every good thing that life can offer. This is your moment, whether it feels like one or not. And maybe all you needed today was the reminder that someone who has weathered storms far worse than yours believes that you, too, can rise. That you, too, can build something extraordinary. That you, too, can step into a life you're proud of. Take a deep breath. Stand tall. Your story is still being written, and the best chapters are not behind you. They are waiting ahead. Maybe the reason this message reaches you now is because deep inside, you already know there's something bigger waiting for you, but you haven't given yourself permission to believe it. You've been operating in survival mode, doing what you have to do, moving through routines that feel predictable and safe, even if they don't fulfill you. You've been holding your breath, waiting for some external sign that it's finally your time. But the truth she would tell you is this: your time begins the moment you decide it does. Not when everything aligns. Not when everyone supports you. Not when fear disappears. It begins when you choose yourself. People often imagine strength as something loud and fierce, but the strongest people are usually the ones who stay gentle despite everything. The ones who don't let bitterness take root. The ones who refuse to shrink even when life tries to compress them. The ones who say, "I will not let this define me," and mean it. Those are the people who rise. And you, yes, you, have that kind of power inside you, whether you've recognized it yet or not. You have been through seasons that demanded more from you than anyone realizes. You've solved problems quietly. You've carried responsibilities without complaint. You've held others together while no one saw the cracks forming inside you. You've walked through situations that would have broken different versions of yourself. Yet here you are, still standing, still trying, still hoping. That alone is an achievement worth acknowledging. Sometimes the universe tests your patience not to punish you but to strengthen your foundation. She would tell you that her own life didn't unfold in a straight line. It zigzagged. It rerouted. It forced her to rebuild when she least expected it. But every detour later made sense. Every setback taught her something. Every moment of confusion prepared her for the life she eventually created. And that's the perspective you need today. Just because you don't understand your current chapter doesn't mean the story isn't working in your favor. So if you feel like you're in between worlds, no longer who you used to be, but not yet who you're becoming, know that this in-between space is sacred. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's unclear, yes. But it's also where transformation happens. It's where strength is built. It's where clarity forms. It's where future versions of you are shaped. Let yourself grow here. Let yourself expand here. Let yourself evolve here. You don't need all the answers right now. You just need faith in the future you're building. She would remind you that most people underestimate what persistence can do. They think success is about brilliance or luck or perfect timing. But persistence, quiet, consistent persistence, is what turns dreams into reality. It's the willingness to get up one more time. It's choosing growth over comfort. It's trusting the process even when progress moves slowly. It's saying, I don't know how long this will take, but I'm committed. And perhaps the most important thing to remember, you don't have to do everything at once. You don't need to transform your life overnight. You don't need giant leaps. You just need small steps, taken repeatedly, with intention. Small steps are powerful. Small steps accumulate. Small steps build momentum. Small steps change lives, so do not underestimate the step you take today. Even if it feels insignificant, it is part of your future. Even if it feels small, it is shaping your path. Even if it feels slow, it is progress. Maybe the version of you reading this right now is tired of being strong. Tired of pretending everything is fine. Tired of carrying burdens you don't talk about. Tired of being the one people rely on. If that's how you feel, it's okay. You don't have to be invincible. You don't have to hide your exhaustion. You don't have to pretend you're unaffected. Even the strongest people need rest. Even the most resilient hearts need moments of softness. Strength is not only about pushing forward, sometimes strength is in allowing yourself to pause, breathe, recharge, and continue again. She would tell you that she had days when she felt overwhelmed, too. Days when she questioned herself. Days when courage felt like a distant memory. But she learned something crucial: resting is not quitting. Taking time to regain your energy is not giving up. Slowing down does not erase the progress you've made. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is simply allow yourself to heal. Once you heal, you rise stronger. Once you forgive yourself for past mistakes, you rise clearer. Once you release what no longer serves you, you rise lighter. Once you stop living for the approval of others, you rise freer, and once you embrace who you truly are, you rise unstoppable. She would tell you to treat yourself with kindness, not the shallow kind, but the deep, thoughtful kind that acknowledges your humanity. Kindness that lets you say, I am doing my best, even on the days when it doesn't look perfect. Kindness that silences the harsh inner critic. Kindness that allows you to grow at your own pace. You will meet people in your life who doubt you. People who misunderstand your dreams. People who project their fears onto you. But remember this, their limitations are not your destiny. Many of the world's most impactful people were doubted before they were celebrated. Many were questioned long before they were respected. Many were called unrealistic before they were called visionary, so if people don't understand your dreams right now, that's okay. Your dreams aren't meant for their understanding, they're meant for your action. She would tell you that she raised her children with this simple principle: follow your passions. Work hard, be kind, and never stop improving. Not because she expected them to become extraordinary, but because she wanted them to feel free enough to try. To experiment. To fail. To rise again. And that attitude, supportive, steady, grounded, became the soil that allowed greatness to grow. You need that soil within yourself. Believe in your ideas enough to nurture them. Believe in your potential enough to invest in it. Believe in your future enough to say, I deserve to see where this can go. Even if you've failed before. Even if you've been rejected. Even if the path scares you. Fear simply means the dream is important, and dreams worth having always require a little courage. Maybe lately you've been feeling like you're waiting for permission to start something new, a career, a project, a move, a relationship, a goal. But here's the truth, you don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need guarantees. All you need is a single moment of boldness to say, I choose myself today. And choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's necessary. Your life changes the moment you decide you are worthy of the change. She would tell you something else, too. You're allowed to outgrow people, environments, and identities that no longer align with your purpose. Not everyone you started with will walk with you into the next chapter. Some people were meant for a moment. Not a lifetime. Some environments were stepping stones, not destinations. Some versions of yourself served their purpose, and now it's time to evolve beyond them. You are not betraying your past by stepping into your future. You are honoring your growth. So if something inside you is whispering, there's more for you, that whisper is your intuition. Listen to it. Trust it. Follow it. Even if the path is unclear. Even if others don't understand. Even if fear tries to hold you back, you don't need clarity to begin. Clarity comes from beginning, and once you begin, momentum builds. Once momentum builds, confidence grows. Once confidence grows, possibilities expand. And once possibilities expand, Life changes, your life can change this year. This season. This month. This week. Even today, but it begins with one choice, and she would remind you that you have already survived the hardest parts of your life. You have already faced moments that once terrified you. You have already overcome obstacles that seemed impossible. So why doubt your ability to rise again? You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience, and experience is power. Experience means you know how to endure. Experience means you know how to adapt. Experience means you know how to rebuild. Experience means you know that even when life knocks you down, you eventually find a way up again, so stand tall. Even if life feels heavy. Even if the past feels painful. Even if the future feels uncertain, stand tall because your story is still unfolding, you are still becoming, you are still capable of extraordinary things, and the world hasn't even seen the best of you yet. Maybe this final part is where everything you've been holding inside finally finds a place to breathe. Where the doubts you've carried for too long loosen their grip. Where the part of you that has been quietly enduring finally steps forward to acknowledge that you deserve more. That you've always deserved more. There is something powerful about reaching the end of a message like this, not because it gives you an answer, but because it awakens something you already had. She would remind you in her calm, steady way that people often underestimate what can change in 1 year. In 1 month. In 1 day. But things change the moment your mindset shifts from I wish to I will. That shift is subtle, but it changes the energy with which you move. It changes the way you speak to yourself. It changes the opportunities you notice. It changes the courage you have to step into new beginnings. And that is exactly the kind of shift you are ready for now. You don't need to know how everything will unfold. Life rarely hands us a full map. Instead, it gives us a direction, a pull, a feeling that whispers, this is where you need to go next. Trust that. Even if you've been disappointed before. Even if you've been hurt. Even if you're afraid of repeating old mistakes. The past may have shaped you, but it does not have the authority to predict your future unless you let it. Let this moment be the point where you reclaim that authority. Your life is not defined by who walked away. Your life is not defined by the opportunities you missed. Your life is not defined by the mistakes you made. Your life is not defined by how long something took. Your life is not defined by the years you spent doubting yourself. Your life is defined by the strength you show today and the courage you choose tomorrow, and if you feel like you've wasted time, she would gently remind you, nothing you've lived through was wasted. Every chapter taught you something. Every setback sharpened you. Every heartbreak expanded your empathy. Every failure strengthened your resilience. Every unanswered question shaped your direction. Every delay protected you from something you weren't ready for. Life has been preparing you quietly, even when you didn't realize it. You are wiser now. You are stronger now. You are more capable now. And you are far more ready than you think. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come after the longest periods of stillness. Sometimes clarity arrives after confusion. Sometimes courage arrives after exhaustion. Sometimes opportunities appear the moment you decide you will no longer settle. And sometimes, the life you've always wanted begins with one small, brave decision, to stop doubting yourself. Look at how far you've come. Truly look. Think of everything you once worried would break you, and how it didn't. Think of the storms you walked through. Think of the nights you questioned your worth. Think of the times you felt invisible. Think of the moments when you had no idea what to do next but moved forward anyway. All of that strength didn't fade. It lives in you. And now you get to use it to build the life you actually want. She would tell you to look toward your future with hope, not hesitation. Not because the road will be perfect, but because you will handle whatever comes. You have already proven that you can survive. Now it's time to prove to yourself that you can thrive. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to expect more. You are allowed to pursue dreams that scare you. You are allowed to walk away from situations that drain you. You are allowed to reinvent yourself completely. You are allowed to rewrite your life story at any time, and you don't have to justify those choices to anyone. Pressure will always exist. Doubt will always exist. Noise will always exist. But so will destiny. So will the quiet, persistent voice inside you that says, you are meant for more. So will the opportunities waiting for your courage. So will the future that opens when you finally step into your power. In her message, she would remind you to stop fearing how others might judge you. The truth is, people who judge are often the ones too afraid to take risks themselves. People who criticize dreams are usually the ones who abandon their own. People who mock ambition are often intimidated by it. Your dreams are not fragile, they just need protection from the wrong voices. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who challenge you to grow, who believe in your potential even when you don't. But most importantly, become the person who believes in yourself first. Let your self-belief be the foundation on which everything else stands. And here is something you may not have heard in a long time: you matter. Your presence matters. Your dreams matter. Your healing matters. Your voice matters. Your happiness matters. And your future, your real, aligned, powerful future, matters immensely. You are not here to live a small life. You are not here to dim your light to make others comfortable. You are not here to repeat the same year again and again. You are not here to shrink yourself to fit someone else's expectations. You are here to grow, to rise, to explore, to create, to express, to impact, to become. You are here to live a life that feels like yours. It's okay if you're scared. It's okay if you don't have everything figured out. It's okay if you're still healing. What matters is that you're willing. Willing to believe in possibility. Willing to take a chance. Willing to try something new. Willing to trust the process even when the path looks uncertain, because life doesn't reward perfection. It rewards participation. You don't need to be fearless to move forward. You just need to move forward despite the fear. Fear is temporary. Regret is permanent. Choose courage. Even a small amount of courage changes everything. Maybe no one ever told you this clearly. So let this be the moment. You are capable of a life far greater than the one you've been settling for. There are doors waiting for you to knock. There are opportunities waiting for you to choose them. There are people waiting to meet the version of you that emerges when you finally stop limiting yourself, and when you look back years from now, you'll realize this moment, this quiet moment where you read these words, was a turning point. Not because the message itself was magical, but because something inside you clicked. Something inside you said, "Enough waiting. It's time to rise." She would tell you that the world needs people who believe in their dreams. The world needs people who choose hope. The world needs people who take risks. The world needs people who refuse to give up. The world needs people like you. So as this message comes to an end, remember this: endings are also beginnings. You are not finishing something, you are stepping into something new. Something brighter. Something bolder. Something more aligned with who you truly are. Take a breath. Feel your strength. Feel your potential. Feel the future pulling you forward, and step into your life with the confidence that you are ready, because you are, you always have been, and now it's finally time to show the world.